One. All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Ifos Probati, and I'm with.
Tian Bianchi.
And we're looking forward to having a conversation today about wellness. And the conversation we're going to have is an explorative one. What is wellness? Why is it? When is it? How is it? Have that conversation with as much humility as possible and as much intention as possible, thinking about insights, explorations, and even a few stories as well.
Perfect.
So I'm looking forward to it. A little bit about me. I'm with Fit Health, and the mission of our company is to scale wellness around the corner, around the world, for individuals and communities, and really promoting great wellness efforts by different groups, different individuals, to make this a more well world. That's the journey that we're on. And Tian, please share a little about yourself.
Well, I'm Tian Bianchi from Guatemala. I have been training since I was like 4 years old. I've been racing motorbikes for almost all my life. Then I came into fitness because I realized that there was more to sports than just playing the sport. And in that journey, I fell in love with the human body, started as a self-taught, let's say, professional. And then in 2019, I decided to professionalize my career and entered a master in applied exercise science. So right now I'm finishing my studies and just sharing fitness and wellness around the world through BPM. So we'll talk about it a little bit in a couple of minutes, but excited about sharing wellness and living every day to be my best version, basically.
I love it. Maximizing each day.
Yeah.
And I love how you used the word love so early on, that you fell in love with the idea of fitness and movement. Tell me about that specifically, that love story.
Well, actually, it came back to maybe when I just finished high school. I went on a trip to Europe and I was just walking around the cities and I realized that completely opposite to my society, people actually meet just to work out. They are on the streets walking, riding bicycles, they are working out with their own bodies, and I was like, this culture is so nice because you're taking care of the only vehicle you have to navigate this world. And that thought kept lingering in my mind, and when I came back, I was like, I'm a very spiritual person, and I think like we navigate this world in different realms, the spiritual, the physical, and if I cannot understand how to perfect my own self in the physical world, there's no way I'm gonna transcend in the spiritual one. So I started devoting my attention to how to improve my physical world and how to control my energy. And then I realized like everything I'm doing is moving me in one direction towards my goals or away from it, and standing still is still drifting away from my goals. So I started understanding that there was much more than just movement. Like there was education behind it, understanding how your muscles work, how energy systems work, how to actually put some inputs that will bring me the outputs that I'm looking forward to obtaining. And that really captivated my energy because I thought it's a game. It's like a lifestyle where everything you are doing, it's triggering some response that will get you somewhere. And applying that to every area of my life has changed my way I see the world and share it with the people around me. So I could rectify that I fell in love with it because every action has a reaction, and once you are conscious about it, you cannot be unconscious again. So more than falling in love and staying in love, I became trapped in this amazing game.
It grabbed a hold of you.
Yeah.
I think as you're talking, I think about Pascal. Pascal had that idea that everything that we do matters. It's like you could go through life that nothing that we do matters, whatever happens, it happens, or everything that we do matters, it have an effect on our lives and environment. And it seems like you set some intentions in your life, sort of a North Star, and based on that North Star, you're able to then say, this action or inaction either moves me closer or further apart from this place that I want to go.
Exactly.
And what was that process like of even curating that and cultivating and saying that's the direction I want to go?
So basically, when I just came back from that trip I mentioned, I had a dream. It was a really vivid dream.
A real dream.
Yeah, a real dream. Like I went to sleep and I just looked to the door and there was light around the door because on the other side of the room the lights were turned on.
Yeah.
And I just fell asleep, and in my dream I started drifting away from this door, and a lot of doors started appearing. And there were different doors, like just like a movie. And I was just like floating around in space, looking at all of these doors. And then I approached one that wasn't the door that I was looking at, and I opened it up, and it was my life, it was me, it was my family, but I was completely someone else. I don't recall the actual details, but I'll just put examples. Like, I was a doctor, and I was in the emergency room, just being a doctor, and I was like, wow, this is me. Then I closed the door, and I went to another one, and I was just driving cars and racing cars. Then I closed the door, and different scenarios, and I was just like, what door should I step in and live? And I just chose the exact door where I was drifting away from this, the original one. I opened it up, came back to my body, let's say, and I woke up, and I was like, whoa, there are a lot of realities that can come to materialize if I just put the energy towards it. So I'm going back to this door, and I'm doing with my life whatever I decide to do. And since the next day, I started training, I started eating different, and I was just like, everything I do is gonna get me somewhere, so I'm gonna choose to stay in the same life, but redirect my life. And since that day, I use the slogan, recreate your life, because you are always one decision away from shifting your life radically. So that was like the initial step that took me into this lifestyle.
Wow. That seems beautiful. One of those moments that once they happen, nothing is ever the same again.
Nothing. You can undo it.
Yes. And then, so what I love about that is one of those things that moment grab you, but then I love the intention is that space. And I think people in the journey of health and wellness, this is where so much potential is, that space of you choosing, okay, I see these different potentials, almost like the multiverse if you're thinking about it. I see these different potentials, and these different potentials are positive and can be beautiful. As I reset, as I think about the space that I'm at, I'm going to choose this, and I'm going to really choose this. That's what I hear from you.
Yeah, definitely that was it. And the difficult part was how to walk it if you don't have any mentor or any idea on what to do. So I feel like sharing my life with my community that has been developed around these years has not been inspired in primarily helping them, because I don't know everything. The journey has been perfecting myself and working in myself, and through my life and my experiences be able to help other people do it. Because I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy. It's not easy to choose a salad over a Big Mac. It's not easy to go to sleep early when you want to keep watching Netflix. It's not easy to do the work when you have to do it, when it's so comfortable staying at home drinking a hot chocolate cup or whatever. You know what I mean? So working in myself, in my mentality, my discipline, my body, has helped me share a message with empathy. Because the community and the whole world right now, let's say 90% of the people around are not into wellness or fitness. And the 10% that is, maybe 5% is trying to cheat their way into it by getting quick fix or hacks that will get them some results that is not long lasting or will bring positive outcomes on the long run. So in my experience, it has been a self-development process that has worked for me, and lessons I've applied in my life that has helped me connect with people. And trying to be authentic and let them know that the people that are sharing the wellness industry and coaches and influencers or whatever you want to call them today, I don't even know how they call themselves, they are humans also. And they're not that perfect image you're looking at through your phone that, oh, they are fit, they're healthy, they have a six-pack. Life's good for them. No, we all struggle to achieve it. And for me, my life's purpose has been letting people know that we're all the same. And small little things will help you get a better life. It's not like unattainable, It's just that 1% daily that you gotta change. It can be in your mindset, in your decision making, in your relationships with other people, in how you see the world. And I keep falling. For example, yesterday was a pretty hard day for me. I was feeling not motivated at all. I didn't want to keep working out this week because I have been having some shoulder pain, and I don't know, a lot of things in my life are being stressful. And instead of going on social media like just copying, pasting, or inventing some motivational stuff, I was just like, I don't work out every day, but I train every day. And today has been a very difficult day for me, and I decided to work on this area. And just being humble, you know, like letting people know we are human. We have a lot of things going on, and on this century it's pretty hard to disconnect because we are being bombarded from everywhere. TV, news, everything. So that has been the hard part for me. But the exciting part also.
That's the adventure. What I love about what you're saying is that for so many people, even the idea of wellness seems overwhelming because sometimes of the picture of perfection that we see in the magazine or on Instagram, the whole nine. But I've known you for some time now, Tian, what I've always loved about your approach is that humility, is that honesty, is that vulnerability. And I love the word vulnerability. It comes from the root word vulna, which means wound. You know, you just talked about yesterday. A bit of suffering is a tough day. You know, being able to share with people, no, that's where it happens. We suffer our way to his wisdom. Aeschylus, the Greek poet, talks about. And if we even think about fitness and training, what's happening right when we're working our muscles are shredding and then they're rebuilding. You know, so step into that process. Don't resist. It's not perfect. Is that compounding nature that you said? You know, just are we getting a 0.5% better, 1% better? Even if there's a step back here and there, are we moving towards our better selves? And the more we can share that journey, like you do so authentically, that's the word, you know, the more I think the space of wellness, people say, you know what, I could step into this. Wellness could be for me as well. So I love it. There's something that you said, you know, and we'll take a stab at it now, and I think we may naturally answer it at the end as well, about wellness, and there's many people not in their wellness journey. What's at stake, Tian? You know, if too many people don't step into this wellness journey, what's at stake for them? What's at stake for the world?
This might sound controversial, but I think that if we're not controversial and just say the things the way we think about them, we're not being honest. So I'll go with it, and sorry if someone gets offended with it. But I feel like we're in a society that people just want to get through every day without realizing what's at stake, as you say. And I came up with a word that in English sounds like not so interesting as in Spanish, but we are hunters. Somos cazadores. We hunt our goals, our objectives, and we are not sheep just dominated and governed by fear. And that has become like our community motto.
Cazadores.
Yeah. Because we wake up with an objective in mind. If you ever see an animal hunting, they are so focused. They know what they gotta do. They don't let their energy spread in things that doesn't matter. They just have their prey at their side, and they'll do everything until they get it. And that's how I will describe the solution for the society that we're living in. And what's at stake? Your life. Our kids' life, the future of the world. Because if you just wake up to go to work, come back, sleep, go to work, come back, sleep, go to work, and working for someone else is even worse, because you are devoting your life, your energy, the most precious thing you have, without a purpose. And I feel like wellness is not just being fit. It's not having a six-pack. Well, it's like having a six-pack and being fit and looking good is a consequence of doing things well, but it's not like, it should not be the prime focus. It is gonna be a consequence. And I don't know if I'm like going through the
what I heard you say, I love it. That cazadores, it sounds a lot cooler in Spanish, right? You know, so I love that so much. And what I heard you say is, first of all, is this awareness of, let's use the word pray, of what's in front of you, you know, it's sort of an allegory, what's in front of you, what you need to go after, and then like the will to unlock that, you know. So, and I think in today's world, there's so many different things pulling at different people, and they sort of talk about signal to noise ratio. You know, there's so much noise, so how do we sort of sharpen and hear that sharp signal of our life? And even if one works for somebody else, I think the point I heard you saying, don't put another person's purpose at the very least in front of yours. What is the balance of your life? You know, whether you're building something or you're building special things with other people or other businesses, that's fine, but making sure that you use the word vehicle earlier, your vehicle, your machine, knowing that this is what's moving you through life. And then I loved what you said about, one of the things I think about a lot, Tian, is the individual in the community, you know, for their life, and then the example and the impression for our kids to be there, to be well enough as much as our potential for them, and to show them, you know, what it could look like in their life. So you define one of the questions I sometimes call these things these 4 doors of resistance, let's say, but they're openers for a combination. As I think about wellness as a journey, a sustainable journey, like you said, wellness is not a destination. It's not like I have 6-pack, 8-pack, I'm here, I'm good. But it's not a destination, it's a journey. And there's oftentimes doors and restriction and friction that prevent people from even really getting in the midst of the journey. A journey that evolves and has dynamics, but there's certain doors. And I want to talk to you a bit about those doors. But when I think about wellness as well, wellness is and well-being, the way I define it, and what we can even jam with that, is the optimization of your health capacity. The optimization of your health capacity. So it's inclusive. So whether somebody's training for Kona, you know, an Ironman, and or they're working through an illness or disease or injury, and or anything in between, they could participate, they can move towards their better. And we could talk about what that better direction looks like, their North Star. We could talk how we can measure them moving forward, but just from the get-go, you can move towards your better. And when we think about it like that, everybody can participate. And then another idea that I like to think about it, wellness starts where you are.
Exactly.
You know, it starts where you are. So going back to what you say, people see all these, let's say the influencers, whatever that means, on TV, and some people are sharing some good stuff here and there. But people see perfect this, perfect that, know all this, and all that good stuff. Is I can't start. That's no. It begins where you are.
Exactly. Yeah, there are a lot of interesting things that you're mentioning, and I just came up with a couple of phrases. The first one is you cannot serve from an empty vessel, and you gotta work to fill your vessel, and you cannot give if you're empty. So working towards being better in every area of your life is gonna help you make the people around you better. That's one thing. The other thing is the human body is not divided in different compartments or blocks. And I feel like we now think about like that. Like, you know, I'm gonna work out, but I'm gonna go party and get drunk tonight. You need to understand that everything you do, from the things you are reading, the things you are hearing, the people you are talking to, what you are looking at, what you are consuming in products, in skincare, in shampoo, everything is sending signals to your brain, to your body, and making it react some way. And the human body is holistic. The food we are eating needs to be as clean, as pure, as more organic, let's say the word that is already in this. Let's not say organic because it doesn't describe anything already, but as pure as we can, because the human body cannot work by compartments. We cannot cure an illness if we don't have a good diet. We cannot overcome an injury if we don't have good sleep. And for me, your definition of wellness is perfect. We can, maybe if we sit and talk about it, we can add something or something, but it describes optimizing your health. And health is not only strength, not only mental strength, health. What I get from that definition is being well in the different areas of your life.
Yes. Yeah, and I love what you're saying, to piggyback on that. Wellness and health it's holistic, it's integrated. You have to think about your movement, you know. The way I think about movement is one of those, is that essence that's with us forever, you know, from the beginning. It really guides how we engage with the world, how the world engages with us. When we maximize our movement, we're exploring the world in different ways, per our capacity, whether that is, it's our nutrition, our mindset. So when one's affected, it has effects on others. So it's not about necessarily being a 10 on 10 on day one, a 10 on 10 always, but understanding to take that holistic approach, that integrative approach.
Exactly.
Which I love what you're saying, integration and holistic. So Tian, so that's the first question. I think you and I just did a bit of wrestling on the definition. Like you said, we could continue to refine it and explore it in our years of conversation. I love it. The next, so that's what I call the first door. The next door, if people have really stepped into that space of what does wellness mean, or what does wellness mean to me, many people have a hard time for whatever reason. And when we have this conversation with the appreciation that many people are just trying to survive. You know, a lot of people in tough situations is about, I gotta feed my kid, you know, I gotta pay the bill, and sometimes wellness seems like something that's beyond. As I'm even saying that out loud, I wonder if, as these conversations go through the years, we could appreciate that people are going through tough situations and even see if we could help them flip that to hope, to potentially hope better or minimize some of the challenges of that. Start chipping away and building your wellness so that those parts of your life can be maximized and maybe helped. That's a thought to explore. But that second door is many people have not yet decided that wellness could be for them, that it's possible for them. Why do you think that is? What that gap, you know, of like, yeah, yes, I could be well, and this idea of wellness can happen in my life. What do you think may limit people in that step?
So I can answer in two different ways, and I'm gonna try to put them together. So if I start shifting, just let me know. But the first thing is most people are doing things out of fear instead of faith. And I don't mean faith as a religious faith, but of a mindset of knowing that things can actually get better and will work out. So you mentioned an example like, I'm doing this because I have to feed my kids. It's a completely different energy and intention if you think I'm doing this because I'm gonna feed my kid, because I wanna feed my kid. So just by shifting your mindset, the energy that you put into everything starts working different. As I say so, I start feeling energy in my body.
I'm feeling it as well.
Because, you know, I feel like we are all energy to a certain degree, and quantum physics has already demonstrated it. And energy has frequency, and our feelings connect to different frequencies. And positive energy, as the street calls it, vibrates much more rapidly than negative energy. And if we are putting out high frequency vibrations, we're gonna attract high frequency vibrations. And everything is gonna start working out slowly, fast. It depends on how your intentions go out. But that's gonna help you give the next step and the next step. And it's like a spiral, a never-ending spiral. And actually right now, as you ask me, what do you think people, why do I think people like don't feel like wellness and fitness is for them? Is because of the false reality that we are being constantly, how do I say it?
Constantly fed or sort of...
Sí, lo que nos dicen todos los días. What people keep telling us every day.
Us, yes, and showing us, yeah.
So, actually, my message to the world is, it doesn't matter where you are, who you are, what you are doing right now. One thing that you change in your life is already getting you better. It has the potential to get you to a better place. And I will celebrate someone losing 1 pound if they are 300 pounds, as I will celebrate, the same way I would celebrate an athlete removing 1 second from their 400-yard dash, you know? Like, you gotta stop comparing, because it's destroying your mentality. If I am not fit, if I don't look well for my standards in the mirror, and I'm scrolling and I'm just looking at the fitness, the top athletes in the world, I might never do it because I think I don't have the time, I don't have the resources, I gotta work, I gotta do this and that, because I'm comparing myself to them. But if I compare myself to me, where I was yesterday, and I realized like, okay, when I came back to work, I don't have my liter of ice cream, I decided to do 10 push-ups instead. I'm much better than I was. And relative, I'm doing much more than the fitness guy that is doing his 2-hour workout.
I love that. So celebrating the journey, whatever it is, and whatever your journey is. And I just love the insight, you know, whatever somebody's trying to change in behavior, replace it with something. So now don't just say, don't eat the ice cream, or whatever it is. Say, as opposed to eating that right now, focusing on, let me do 10 push-ups. I love what you're saying so much, Tian, is the compounding journey one step at a time. So if you just win that, if that's what you're going to consider winning, win that moment. Okay, I do have a craving for this food, whatever that food is, but I have the choice to do 5 push-ups and 1 push-up. Let's see if I could do it. You know?
There's a life-changing book called Atomic Habits.
Atomic Habits, James Clear.
It's perfect.
It's a great book. Yeah.
It's an example of everything that triggers you to do some action, and you want to change something in your life. Keep the trigger, but change the action that you are attaching to it. So if you want to get fitter, every time you get the trigger to eat something that's not healthy, do some push-ups, do some pull-ups, go walk for a mile. If you are tempted to do something stupid online, get a book and read. And just winning every situation will make you feel good about yourself. I don't know if I get too philosophical about what I'm gonna go next, but for me, the most important part for a human being is being congruent.
In
alignment with what you think and what you do.
Agreed.
And when you are in alignment with what you think and what you do, you'll feel better about yourself, your self-esteem and your self-worth are gonna go through the roof. And you're gonna be acting better, feeling better, being more happy, more whole, because you feel better. And how do you align yourself? By sticking and doing these little victories in every area of your life. And for example, if we were to meet here at 10:30, I was gonna be here at 10:30 because I gave you my word. I spoke up. But if I tell myself tomorrow I'm gonna go work out at 5 a.m. because I didn't tell anyone I was gonna do it, I feel comfortable not coming. But I'm failing myself when I'm not failing you. So why do I respect everybody else more than I respect myself? My self-worth, my self-esteem starts to come down because I'm not respecting myself. I'm not giving me the place and the esteem that I deserve. And by being in alignment with every little win makes me respect myself even more. And that makes me feel more whole. It allows me to give people advice, to help people, because I know I'm walking the talk. Even though they don't know it, it makes me feel different. It makes me talk different, act different.
I love that so much. And for a lot of people in life, to the point that you make, they will put other people as a high priority to themselves, and they will break a lot of agreements with themselves. And when you do that, the brain is a powerful thing. There's different parts of it, upper brain, lower brain, conscious, subconscious. When you start doing that and breaking agreements, you're losing credibility with yourself. So when you need it in a moment of action, or danger or opportunity, you won't be able to call on that deeper, transcendent in some ways part as quickly because there's not that connection. But when you're in congruence, like you're saying, in alignment, when you say, you're moving and you're able to move through this world with a truth and an intention that is powerful, and empowering.
Completely.
So I love what you said, so the nature of that recent question is, why don't people think it could be for them? One of the parts of this conversation is hopefully some people take at least one thing from our conversation, many from our conversation, is the idea of people think other journeys have to be their journey. No, wellness starts where you are, and one step, there's that old line, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step, right? I think of Confucius or somebody like that. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. So getting people going will be something. So I love that. So then those are the first two. Many people have never created a definition, and many people, even that definition they create, they're not sure if it could be for them, right? So that was one of the challenges. There's a lot of behavior change. There's a lot of lift. There's moving the will. Step number 3, or question number 3. Let's say somebody has made a definition. Let's say somebody said, okay, this definition could be for me. Tian, many people don't know how to start, right? Should I do ketogenic or paleo? Should I go to this gym or that gym or this fit, et cetera, et cetera? Many people don't know how to start. Many people not have the awareness of what's around them. How do we give people that boost to say, this is what you should be thinking about and considering if you're ready to start? What do you think on that?
Well, wow. This is pretty challenging because it depends on the community you're talking to, the age of the group you're talking to, and I would just go with simple advice right now. Don't want to sound overcomplicated, but first of all, don't be radical. If you decided to change, don't do everything at once. It's not gonna be sustainable. And for example, if you wanna change your life and you're not into fitness, you're not into eating healthy, and you decide just tomorrow I'm gonna start, and you throw away all your food, you get into the gym membership, very, very little percentage of that group would make it through. Start by doing small changes. And those small changes might be the more motivating and will help you enter a realm where you are surrounded with people that are into the health industry, let's say, that would guide you. So for example, if you want to start eating healthier, just start by reducing the added sugar you put into your food. Just if you drink coffee with 3 spoons of sugar, remove one. In a couple of days, when you feel it like it tastes already like it used to, remove another one. And do small changes like that. Then stop eating anything as time goes by that has a label with some name that you cannot pronounce out loud at the first try. That's the most important. We're being poisoned through our food. And I feel like we are in a society where eating healthy, it's called dieting. And I don't know where I read that because those are not my words, but they stuck with me. And I was like, whoa, it's so real, because even though I'm in the fitness industry and all the people around me are healthy, let's say, they still think I'm always on a diet because I don't consume fast food. And even though I go to a social meeting or something like that, they're like, are you gonna have pizza? And I'm like, no, thank you. I feel good about not eating those things. And they're like, you're on a diet. And I'm like, no, I'm not. But coming back to it, the second thing you can do is just start moving. It can be walk 1 mile a day, 100 meters a day. Instead of using the elevator, use the stairs, park a little bit further away from your office. Small things that will make you feel like you can do it too. And when those things start being part of your daily, then start doing some traditional things like go to the gym, and don't be tempted to try shortcuts. That's not sustainable. Like you said, I think like the ketogenic, paleo, and those kind of diets work very good for some specific profiles, because it's not like they do not work, but the people that get benefits from them are specific populations. And if you are just like, tomorrow I'm gonna be on keto, you're gonna be eating so much poison just to get to your fats that it's not gonna outweigh the benefits that you're looking for. I don't know if I told that correctly.
I love what you're saying. What I'm hearing you saying in that first part, to really get into that question number 3, you need to actually answer number 1 and number 2. What does wellness mean? Can wellness mean for me? Then once you sort of say, okay, I want to go in this direction, you're proposing micro steps that are sustainable. You know, and I guess we chatted about nutrition a little bit. I agree. I think a big part of nutrition is first principles. You know, minimizing the things that just the majority of science says that don't bring us value. You know, and then some that are detrimental, and then slowly see where you can. It doesn't have to. You don't have to build Rome in one day. Slowly see what good things that the best literature says could and should have a positive effect, and start there.
Yes.
You know, so to speak, without judgment, without anything, just say the things that are not helping or maybe judgmental, let me try to minimize that. The things that may be helpful with the best evidence out there, let me see where and how I could do it. But it all comes down to where we go before, having an idea of wanting to move towards better. I think we use the word intention. You got to have that intention. And once you have that intention, is navigating, right? Is navigating how to get there and be graceful with yourself on the way while maintaining that intention.
And don't lose the motivation, or let's call it discipline, because once you want to start, you're motivated. When you hear some phrases or talks like this, you're motivated to start. But once you fail or once things get difficult, it's discipline. So
Well, that's the question. I jumped in because I want to frame it for you and continue your answer. The question number 4 is how do you sustain? You know, so there's a journey of deciding to start, but then that fourth door, you started, but you evolve. Your environment around you may evolve. Life may evolve. In all of that, how do you sustain on this? Because that's the door to really start talking about sustainable wellness. So we're talking about discipline and motivation. How do you keep things going, Tian?
So this has been like the most challenging for me personally, and as I talked in the beginning of our talk, it has been very difficult to endure this life, even though I'm already in it. I cannot imagine how difficult it is for someone starting when they have no idea of what wellness is, or they're starting with less education about it. So what it has worked for me is thinking long term and understanding how the brain works, because the human always attaches pleasure or pain to our situations. So let's say, for example, our yummy boy here, he attaches pleasure to eating junk, right? If not, he won't be doing it. But if you get your purpose, your objectives clear, and you start thinking long term, then eating fast food would create pain. So if you start attaching pain to the things that do not get you closer on the long term to what you really want over what you want now, you're not gonna be able to get there. So even though you fail sometimes, it's okay. Just use your motivation and think long term, long term, long term, long term. This won't let me lie. Look, my
think long term.
think long term, and you are never gonna stop needing motivation or some moments in your life that reaffirm what you want. And you should always ask yourself, is this long-term vision objective of mine is still vibing with who I am right now, with who I am becoming, with the information I have now? Yes? Okay. Keep doing the micro steps. But attach pleasure or pain to everything. And when you think long term, you'll change what you're attaching pleasure and what you're attaching pain to.
I love that. And inherent in some of what you said, it's not about perfection either, it's about progress. You know, and as you know me, I'm a healthcare clinician myself, and one of the things that I do when I eval somebody, I ask them, it's towards the end of the early part of the conversation, is what do you want? You know, what do you want for your life in the time to come that may not be maybe a concrete reality now? What do you want? And many people talk about wanting to play with their kids and their grandkids, or walk with their spouse in Europe or Asia to travel and things of that nature. So they create this hopeful vision. And oftentimes throughout the journey, I will bring that up. That we're doing this because of that, and it gets them going. Tian, is that calibration, you know, so to speak. So I love it. I'm reading a book right now it's called Upstream. The last name of the author is Heath. I think the first name is Dan. We'll correct that in the notes. But he talks about that. Too many people, if we don't feel the pain of things, we won't change it. You think about, to not go too much of the tangent, but climate change. Or at least we see the world changing in some aspects because it's so far off. So it's like we won't change our behavior, but until we take it seriously, no, this could hurt the world for my kids to come, you know, for generations and other people. Because until we feel that deeply, we won't do something to start fixing it, you know, so to speak.
Yeah, that brings me back to one thought. It's like humans only change in two scenarios: when they feel highly motivated to do something, or when they feel too much pain that they cannot stand it anymore. And I don't know the statistics, but I would say like 90 or more percentage of the human population only change when they cannot stand the pain anymore. So why are we being masochists? We need to start thinking the other way around, doing things with purpose, doing things with intention, and start being motivated before we hit rock bottom.
Yeah, I love that. Playing sports growing up, I usually had this T-shirt that I wear under my uniform for love of the game.
Yeah.
You know, and that love to move and drive you forward. So I love that. So Tian, we went through the four doors, the four questions about wellness. You know, the challenges that some people have. One is they haven't curated a definition of wellness. One, two, they haven't decided that wellness could be for them. You know, that's a big one. Those 4 2 doors are big. The number 3, how to start with the overflow of information and maybe the lack of options in their space. You know, some people have deserts, food deserts, the whole nine. How do you start? And then number 4, once you start, as your life evolves and the space around you evolves, how do you maintain and sustain to be on that journey of wellness and to stay graceful and intentional? So I love so much of what you share. So you're contributing to the tilt. This is how I think about so much in life, you know, contributing to the tilt of the good, the true, the beautiful, you know, the more well, you know. So tell me about BPM. What's the mission, the vision, the intention? What are the efforts that you're on?
So BPM are its best progress method, and we think that it doesn't matter who you are, where you are, and what you have done or be able to do right now, you can always progress. Because it's not about being perfect, it's about being better every day. So the best progress outlies a very different areas with our clients, but the primary contact point with our clients is physical activity. It's a 10-level structure that divides fitness to let people know where they are and how they can get better. So if you are familiar to martial arts, to different self-defense programs, they have colors to identify who's a beginner, who's an intermediate, and who's an advanced practitioner. We also have them. So we have 5 levels. We start with the white one, where people who are injured or who are rehabilitating or starting a program from zero are going to be starting to. These users that fall into this color, let's say, this category, are just welcome into the space. They're changing their mindset by sharing with people that are in the wellness world. They get out of their environment, they come, they share, they start doing some basic movements, and they start conditioning their bodies and their joints. Because we cannot get them into advanced or intermediate movements as of first day. We first need to prepare them. So all the white level is just like an introduction to our system. Then we have level green, and in the green level you are already learning how to move, learning the movement patterns, using different muscles in certain ways that are functional for your daily life. And by functional, I don't mean like functional training. We mean like you are actually gonna be lifting stuff, getting up, standing up,
Holding
sitting down, holding your kid, getting the groceries down. You know, like actually learning how to use your body. Then we get into more advanced or intermediate levels where in the yellow color, we're already using like half of our body weight to perform basic exercises like push-ups, pull-ups, dips, squats, deadlifts. We're learning how to actually create the movement using the more, I won't say more important because everything's important, but learning how to use our muscles with the correct technique and promoting health in different areas of your body. Not just growing bigger muscles, but getting better posture, feeling better, and we start introducing them to different habits that will help them advance in their fitness journey. Then we get into the blue and red levels. The blue levels are fitness movements that are advanced to the general population. You are going to be doing muscle ups, you are going to be doing weighted dips, weighted pull-ups, weighted squats. You start implementing different tools to your training program that it's going to allow you to actually create some hypertrophy. It's going to allow you to create power output, to specialize in certain sports, because we believe that you cannot be good at any sport if you don't learn how to actually use your body first. You cannot name one sport, or maybe one that I'm thinking and I won't say, that you are not going to be using your body to play it, you know? And then the red level is full BPM. where every movement is taken to the extremes by instability, added leverage, added weight, or by doing it unilateral. So let's say one arm push-ups, one arm pull-ups, different movements that are, we use a lot of gymnastic rings. So it's actually, if you already have an athlete or a client that has progressed through the systems, they can entertain themselves because they can always challenge themselves by doing something more difficult. And when you graduate, let's say, from our 9 levels and 5 colors, we invite you to be a coach. And for us, being coaches is the most beautiful and biggest responsibility of our program. Because as I was creating this program for the last 7 years, I took different certifications, different diplomas or courses that if you pay and you attend, you receive the title as a coach. And that blew my mind and got me really angry because I was thinking a lot of people that don't even squat properly are guiding others and they're gonna get them injured without realizing that this will get them away from their wellness journey. And I can't stand that because as coaches we have a big responsibility of guiding people in a way that they're gonna fall in love with the process and make them part of their life, and they start attaching pleasure to it and not pain. So the BPM, the best progress method, invites every human being into starting exploring with their body, start optimizing movement, start becoming stronger, and inspire others to do so.
I love the word exploration. You know, with your body, explore your body so you can explore the world around you in the different functional ways that you said. And I love that there's a place for everybody. You know, you could start with the white level, that beginning level, to solidify the foundation, right? To build upon bedrock. Not saying you sometimes see people in gyms that may dive into a gym or a box or whatever, and they're doing these crazy intense squats right away. They haven't earned the responsibility to do that move. You know, when you sort of relook at responsibility, go through the journey one step at a time, one color at a time. There's different pathway to earn to do more. You know, so that it could stay a pleasure and not this sort of painful trauma to your body. You know, so I'm going to ask you how more people can find out about this, but I hope more people find out about this. I hope it also influences other coaches doing some good things, but also it influences and empowers and reminds other coaches that precision, intention, form, integrated with function is the way.
Yeah.
You know.
That brings me back to a thought I have been trying to curate the last couple of months, but ego has been around for all of humanity, but once again with social media and exposure, it has killed our progress and has injured more people than we can ever think. So what I mean with ego, and you mentioned a very specific and beautiful way of saying people need to earn the right to do some things. And the hard part for me has been, for example, going to a CrossFit gym and looking at people that cannot pull up, doing butterfly pull-ups or keeping pull-ups. And I'm not saying keeping is bad, CrossFit is bad. Every sport is beautiful in their way. But as you said, we gotta earn some things, not because I say so, but because your body is gonna be thankful that you follow certain steps so you won't get injured. So for example, this comes also to the coaching side. I have seen, as a coach, I'm constantly doing my homework. I write to professionals around the globe and I ask them to create programs for me. I don't use them, but I study them. I analyze what tools they're putting into it, what's the structure of their workouts, what's the logic behind their programs. And I keep having conferences with them and everything just to explore and expand. And what I have observed is that they're trying to put all the exercises that look good, that need certain expensive equipment, that it's gonna look cool on camera for you to feel like you're doing something good. But that's ego coaching. And I feel like that's very hard to acknowledge as a coach, but you gotta ask yourself, is my program actually targeting my client's strengths and promoting him to enhance his weaknesses? Or I'm just trying to look good as a coach by sending a cool program? So ego has to disappear from the conversation.
Yeah.
And there was a time, like, we started in 2015, but from 17 to 18 was the time I devoted the most on creating the level tire structure and everything. And ego hit me, but I didn't want it to be out there sharing it. So what I did was train at a time where no one was in the gym. So I can earn my right to practice the more advanced skills. Because I thought if I'm gonna be training intermediate or beginning exercises and my clients see that I'm doing that, they're gonna lose trust in me. And as coaches, we do not have to fear that. We need to be the example that we are building a basis and sharing with people. It's okay to be here. The process is long. Enjoy it. Feel better overall. You are as strong as your weakest link. And then I was like, no, this can inspire people. And then there was a shift in my mindset. And I started training the same way with people around me. And they were like, why are you doing that? And it opened up a possibility to let them change their mindset. So in BPM, we are just trying to get rid of ego. And as you said, let people know that they gotta earn their way.
So much of what you're talking about, Tian, I'm hearing so much first principle, that can apply to so much in life. That sort of humility, that willingness to be vulnerable. There's a Japanese word that I love. It's called kaizen, and it means continuous growth. You just said you put 7 years into building this, and you're going to continue. You're studying more stuff now. You're doing a master's and some new things now. That humility to know and to realize, and the more that you start to know, that you realize there's so much more to know, and to try to open yourself and to explore and to ask and to seek the whole nine, and to show that knowing and that becoming in an open and vulnerable way with your community. Here in the gym and other places, and I know you're doing some things online, which I'd like for you to talk about, showing that with people around the world. I think that no less than the techniques, the amazing techniques that you have. I've seen you do different things. It's so inspiring. But the techniques, but just as much that empathy, that vulnerability, that intention, that humility, that openness. I think that just as much is what's going to create the space for people to say, wellness, as I define it, and as I'm inspired by others, can be for me as well, for whoever it's she or he that says that, or
for
asks
sure.
that.
I completely agree.
So tell me about, you're creating the program, you have different spaces throughout Guatemala, and then you're also creating content and courses for online. Please tell me about that, Tian.
So it all started in a box where I kept building, trying, and testing, let's say, the methodology, and when I realized it worked for me, I thought it can help my clients. It did so, and then I was like, my time is limited, my energy is limited, and the only way I can give it out to the world is by educating more people on the way I think, the way I learn, the way I share, and that's when I decided to hit the online platform. The online platform's intention is to, as I call it in Spanish, coaches con altos estándares. Coaches.
We could put this video on Telemundo and see this is an English and Spanish video.
Yeah, it's golden standard coaches.
Say the word in Spanish again.
Coaches con altos estándares.
Bueno.
So it basically means creating coaches with golden standards. What I mean with it is not just giving them the information about how to perform exercises, but the ethics, the how-tos, and the empathy behind it. So in this platform, we have different workshops to become a coach. It's not just like subscribing and you're a coach. You first gotta go through BPM fundamentals, where we talk about what is BPM, how to apply BPM, how does the body works. We give certain lessons of muscles, tendons, joints, So the coach or the athlete that takes these courses can get to understand that there's much more to it than just doing a half rep push. Understanding the why behind it and how it will help him in all the areas of his life. Then workshop 1 and workshop 2 divide the level structure. So workshop 1 goes into around 160 exercises.
Wow.
And we recorded those at night from 10 to 3 a.m. here because the light was so variable. And we recorded like with 4 or 5 cameras. So every exercise is recorded from different angles.
Wow.
And we have it in English and in Spanish. And we share the correct techniques, muscles involved, the correct scapula position, and when to progress each exercise. The workshop number 2 is the same, but with the advanced levels, the blue and the red one, and it covers around 145 exercises.
You've been busy, Tian.
Yeah, it's been a hell of a journey.
Wow.
But every time, you know, like it's funny because this content, even though it's just got online in our platform, I have been watching it over and over again. Because sometimes you study and you get so into it and you record and then like you get drained and you just need to rest. But the content is not always available. Even though you know it, it's not always fresh in your mind. So I always keep coming back to these videos and reminding myself, why am I sharing this? How should I be sharing it? And redoing some stuff that didn't completely vibe with me right now, and changing some educational things that just science and fitness keep evolving. And sometimes I would say this is the truth, and in a couple of weeks things change. And we need to be humble enough to say, okay, this has changed. We used to do things this way, but now da. So this platform has never-ending content that we keep sharing. And the coaches around the world that are already using BPM have been giving to us feedback and questions for us to study and try to give answers to. So we also share lessons, as I call them, of different topics regarding BPM, regarding fitness industry, and regarding nutrition. And anyone can come into the platform and watch those videos. We talk about different stuff like why is it important to use progressive overload in your trainings? Why is it important to train while you are injured? The difference between the RISE protocol and other protocols. Things just to let coaches know that they're not going to be alone in their journey, but they can come back and keep getting value out of it. And lastly, the main difference in the platform is that we're not just selling workout programs. If you want to work out with us, you first need to understand the level structure. So any client that texts me online or through social media like, I want a program, okay, first enroll to workshop number 1 and fundamentals. Because if I give someone a program, let's say easy example, the first set you gotta do 10 pull-ups and 20 push-ups, I don't even know what you're doing. So if I'm gonna be prescribing exercise to someone, I wanna make sure they're doing it the way I am thinking they're supposed to be doing it. So education has been my go-to, and even though it has been very difficult because people want quick fixes, I am aiming to another market who is people that are already in the industry and wanna share in a different way to obtain tools and change people's lives. So online we are helping gyms with affiliations to our program and coaches to certify through our methodology and training process.
Scaling wellness,
Yeah.
I love that. So as we sort of wind down, on that front, Tian, those who are interested in your process, BPM, Better Progress Method?
Yes.
Better Progress Method, BPM. Where could they find you to learn more, to take those introductory or foundational courses to start their journey if they're interested?
So the social media is BP Method, just with one M, BP Method altogether. And online, it's bpmethod.online,
Okay.
just like that.
Gotcha.
And you are more than welcome to visit the page and join the community. It's an amazing community, and I feel like everyone has the same intention, and we are just trying to expand wellness around the world.
I love it. it. I love it. I love it. Well, my good man. It was so great sharing time with you today. I learned much. I felt much. And the journey and the explorations continue.
Excellent. It was nice to be talking with you. Thank you for the space.
Great. Thank you, guys.